Today we're going to start learning about adding integers, and we're going to be using the integer chip model to begin with. I want to remind you that while you're watching one of these videos and taking notes, that you write down everything that I do, not just the examples but also the steps. So we're going to start out with talking about what the integer chips are. There are integer chips that are red and integer chips that are yellow. Just so that you understand, the integer chips that are red are negative, and those that are yellow are positive. Because you don't necessarily have red and yellow markers or crayons or colored pencils, what you should do when you put them in your notebook is simply to make a circle with a positive sign for the positive. Oh, of course, that's not what I meant to make. Let's try this. Our negative chips should have a negative sign, and our positive chips should have a positive sign. Sorry about confusing you. The next thing that it's important that you understand is that when you have a negative chip with a positive chip, that together they make a zero pair. You should already have this definition in your notebooks, but anytime you see a negative and a positive together, again, they cancel each other out, and we refer to them as a zero pair. So let's go ahead and get started adding two positive integers. So, more than likely, you already know the answer to both of these problems, but we need to make sure that we apply our rules. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, there's 4 positive chips, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 positive chips, plus 1 positive chip. So because they're all the same, I can simply box them all in because there they are, and I count them up. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positive chips, so therefore the answer is positive 5. Again, I'm quite sure you knew the answer to that, but you need to see the examples considering those positive and negative as we move forward, those positive and negative chips. So I'm going to tell you right now to stop the video. Do this one on your own using the chip model, and then restart the video to see if you are correct. So stop the video now. So you should now be returning. You should have drawn, this is a positive 2, so 2 positive chips added to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positive chips. They are all the same. I can box those in, count them up. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positive chips, so the answer is positive 7. And remember, we don't say plus 7, we say positive 7. Okay, moving right along, we're adding 2 negative integers. So here we are. We've got 2 negative chips. That's negative 2. So 1, 2 negative chips. And that negative 3 tells me 1, 2, 3 negative chips. They are all the same, so I know I box them in all together. And that's going to equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negative, so it's negative 5. Remember, not minus 5, negative 5. That's the proper way to say it. And next we have negative 5, so that's 5 negative chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus negative 1, so there's 1 negative chip there. Again, they are all the same. I can box them all together. So they are going to equal -6. Hopefully you stopped the video in between before doing that second one, but if not, you now have 2 examples in your notes. Moving forward, there's going to be 2 examples for each. I'm expecting you to stop in between and do the second one on your own. So now things get a little more difficult. We're adding now 2 integers with different signs. So let's take a look at this first one. I've got -2, and I will color code them, although I realize more than unlikely you will not be doing that in your notes. So 2 negative means I've got, -2 means I've got 2 negative chips. There they are. Plus +7. Now notice how I do line them up, and it makes more of a difference here when I line them up because I notice that I now have some 0 pairs that exist. So there we go. And I remember that each one of these is a 0 pair, and each one of them cancels out. So this no longer exists, this no longer exists. I'm left with just these, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positives. So that's equal to +5 as the answer. Now again, like I said, you can stop here and try the next one on your own, and then turn the video back on. So here we are with this next one. We've got +4, so that's 4 positive chips. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative plus -6, so that's 6 negative chips. I want to make sure I line them up. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I simply get rid of my 0 pairs. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 0 pairs are gone. This is what I'm left with, which is -2. And there's my answer. Okay, and finally, we're going to be adding more than 2 integers. Now my order of operations simply tells me to go from left to right across the problems, adding and subtracting as I see. Now we're not doing any subtracting here, only adding. So I am going to add across. I've got -6 plus +4. I'm going to ignore this part of my problem for now and do these. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to add to that 1, 2, 3, 4. Take away my 0 pairs, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 0 pairs. I'm left with this, so that's equal to -2, bring down what's left, plus -1. Now I didn't mention earlier, the reason that those parentheses are there is to separate the plus and the minus. The parentheses in this case does not mean there's something to do there first. It's just there to separate the signs. Okay, so moving right along, I've got -2, so there's 1, 2 negative chips, plus -1. They are all the same. I can box them in all together, and I know that my answer is -3. So again, the rules still apply. I'm only doing 2 integers, add them together, and go in order from left to right. So stop the video here. And let's take a look at that next problem when you come back. Okay, so here we are. We've got -2 plus -2. I'm going to ignore that part of the problem for now. So 1, 2 negatives plus 2 more negatives. They are all the same. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So -4. Bring this down. Plus +7. So we've got -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, plus +7, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I know that they're all going to line up, but I'm kind of running around out of room on the bottom here, so I'm just going to go up and continue my positive chips. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll notice that my 0 pairs are still next to each other, so I can cancel them out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 0 pairs. I'm left with positive 3 as my answer. And that's how you add integers using integer chips.